in a report packaged by our National Assembly correspondent. Also in the program this week is an issue relating to inclusive governance raised by a coalition of young aspirants in a meeting they just held in Abuja, as our political correspondent will be telling us later. Preparatory to the governorship elections slated for Kogi State later this year, the major gladiators in the APC are already out trying to outdo one another in trying to see who flies the party's flag in the forthcoming elections. The last of the Young Progressives Party is yet to be heard in the country's political terrain, as it recently reached out to the public in its bid to remain relevant in future electioneerings. We have a report on that too. The Labour Party too, at its convention recently in Abuja, reaffirmed its resolve to remain relevant in the country's political space by staging a national convention that produced a new set of leaders to steer its affairs as it consolidates on the past gains. We have a report on that. All this in today's menu with me, Muhammad Abubakar. Don't go away. We begin the program this week with the responses generated by the highly impactful speech delivered by President Muhammadu Buhari on June the 12th to officially mark the maiden edition of Democracy Day.
We in the Nigerians in the diaspora, and on behalf of Nigerians in the diaspora, I'd like to say a big thank you for actually naming the National Stadium after the late MK Abiola. We're quite glad about that, and we think it's a step in the right direction. But the most important thing is actually taking Nigerians, millions of Nigerians out of poverty. And from the speech of the president, he did confirm that this next level, which is what the next level is actually all about, is about taking more Nigerians out of poverty and consolidating on the achievements of the last 4 years of the APC.
Relates to the 2019 general elections is still trending. Political correspondent Timothy Yusuf reports that improvement in future electoral process is among 30 key recommendations it contains. The report.
The European Union Election Observation Mission says INEC has significantly improved in its electoral process, but some of the systemic relapse seen in the 2019 general elections and the relatively low levels of voter participation demands electoral reform. The 30 recommendations prioritizes 7 key areas, including the need to strengthen INEC procedures for the collation of results to improve integrity and confidence in electoral outcomes.
The Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security, chaired by INEC, included all of the responsibility security agency. We recommend that in the future it works more transparently and inclusively by holding regular consultation with political parties and civil society.
There are aspects of the report that we think are vague and are not definitive enough. For instance, if they say the results collation process is not transparent enough, I expect them to be very clear as to what they expect to happen over and above or beyond what we have in the Electoral Act presently.
Meanwhile, the presidency has welcomed the report of the European Union on the 2019 general elections in Nigeria, promising to analyze it and act on the recommendations. A statement from the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, notes that the EU did not question the results of the presidential election. It adds that it is a further proof that the polls reflected the overall will of Nigerians and that the world is solidly behind the re-election of President Buhari.
Still talking elections, this time around as it relates to Kogi State, preparing to go to the polls to elect who becomes the next governor. The All Progressives Congress in the state says it is ready for any form of primary that may be proposed by the party ahead of the November 16th elections. This was reached at the party's stakeholders meeting in the state capital, Lokoja. Solomon Ayedihin was there for us.
The meeting, which was at the instance of the leadership of the party, brought together critical stakeholders, with Governor Yahaya Bello in attendance. It x-rayed the successes that the party recorded during the last elections, while synergizing towards ensuring victory for the party in the November 16th state gubernatorial election. Governor Yahaya Bello congratulated the party and members for its exploit in the presidential, national and state assembly elections, saying that the party leadership had justified the confidence reposed in them at the state and national levels in view of the excellent outing of APC at the polls. He noted that the party membership has grown tremendously in the last 3.5 years, describing it as a testimony that the people loved his leadership, promising not to disappoint them. The governor expressed willingness to follow the party directives in respect of any form of primaries to be adopted ahead of the election, adding that he is confident of emerging the party's candidate.
I am never in any way afraid of any form of primary. Direct, indirect, or any form. Alhaji Hayabendo, I am ready for any form of primary.
He, however, enjoined any individual who has interest in the primaries to freely do so, saying that such platform will go a long way to increase the party's membership base. The governor warned against casting aspersions on such individuals, stressing that the state belongs to everybody and together it will be salvaged.
Meanwhile, in Abuja, the nation's capital, a group that calls itself Kogi Concerned Stakeholders, rising from an emergency meeting, have made their demands known to the public, most especially leadership of the APC at both federal and state levels, to be just and fair in relation to the conduct of party primaries coming up shortly.
Electoral primaries, we want it known that we, the leaders of the APC, as well as the aspirants on the platform of our party, we have 20 of them, about 17 of them are here. So we are saying that the primary for the governorship of Kogi State must be direct primary, where all the members of the party in all the local governments will choose who they want to be their candidate. Therefore, we are appealing to the national secretariat of our party to do the needful. And the needful is for them to set up an independent caretaker committee to go and run the party in Kogi State until after the elections are finished.
And we have also come to call on all men and women of conscience to put pressure on the leadership of our great party, the All Progressives Congress, to provide level playing ground for all aspirants on the platform for the governorship ticket of the party. This level playing ground will be provided if the party organizes direct primary for the governorship ticket.
Attention of political observers is still on the convention recently held by the Labour Party in Abuja, a development that produced a new set of leaders to run its affairs. Patricia Isami Luba was there for us.
It was a gathering of members of the Labour Party. The agenda was to elect new party officials and strategize on actualizing the vision and mission of the party for the next 4 years. The event had in attendance representatives of the party across the geopolitical zones of Nigeria. Highlight of the party convention was the election of candidates into office under the close supervision of the national chairman and the organizing committee.
Those who support say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. It's duly elected.
The national party chairman in his remark assured Nigerians of the party's commitment to providing a realistic system of governance in line with democratic rule.
We have come to chart a new course for our great party by electing officers
that will manage the affairs of our party for the next 4 years. The Labour Party will address the issue of political power, not as an end, but as a vehicle for national transformation and governance which is consistent with the tenets of social democracy.
The newly elected officials, on their part, promised to discharge their duties in line with the party's vision, promising to promote service to the people rather than self. The office of the zones, national secretary, and deputy national secretary were among elective positions confirmed at the convention.
Next in the program is a Vox Pop conducted by political correspondent Timothy Yusuf on the presidential system of government now being practiced in Africa's largest democracy, Nigeria. The report.
The presidential system of government is quite expensive, to be sincere. But again, it's a much better way of, representation, right? If you look at it, from my own understanding or from my own point of view, I could say that we practiced parliamentary system of government before, and it didn't really work out fine for us. Now, adopting the presidential system of government, even though it itself has its own drawback, and one of the drawbacks of presidential system of government is the fact that it's very expensive.
You find that we practice different systems of government. But it was because we believed as people who are human beings, who are in charge of their own destinies, that those things were not working very well. These were the reasons why we had those several, constitutional conferences that led to changes in system of governance. To me, I think the presidential system of government is very good for Nigeria.
Fantastic system of government. It brings unity. And of course, it enables the three tiers of government, to work to the interests of the people. It brings stability also. If we have a parliamentary system of government, before you know, you see everybody will play to the gallery. Before you know, government is impeached, government resign, and so the cost of election will be too much for us. Presidential system of government is the best.
Honestly, it's a blessing. You see, if you look at the United States, look at all the things people have against Trump. But nobody is really taking him out of office forcefully. The electorates will determine whether he is going to have a second term or not. And all the things that he can do, whatever powers he has got, he is using to get the results that he thinks he can get. I think I welcome this system of governance.
One issue that still attracts the attention of Nigeria's political observers is the high turnover of the membership of both chambers of the National Assembly since the return of the country to democracy 20 years ago. National Assembly correspondent Kenneth Nanim has a report on the political implication of such a trend.
It is an institution created by
Senator Shehu Sani, representing Kaduna Senatorial District amongst other legislators, is a strong voice on the floor of the Senate, who always contributes to debates leading to bill passage, adoption of motions and resolutions on issues affecting the nation in the 8th Assembly. His contributions and the likes of Representative Nena Okeje at the House of Representatives will be missed by Nigerians, as they will not be part of the 9th Assembly. Both, like the more than 200 other legislators, lost out in their bids to return to the National Assembly. That has always been the situation at the end of the 4-year period of election in the last 20 years of Nigeria's democracy, where high turnover of legislators is recorded, a development that some lawmakers believe is not healthy for the legislative arm of government, as the institution continues to lose skillful, knowledgeable and well-experienced legislators.
That is a big concern, honestly. 66 of us are not coming back. Is very unfortunate. And I hope that this will change.
When you have people who come in here without experience, they have to start learning from the ropes. And then you have problems of continuity.
There are certain constituencies that have made it even a point that look, it's once in a one term. I think that too should be addressed. Anytime we have high rate of turnover of legislators, it is not in the best interest of the country.
If you want our democracy to survive, then definitely you have to have seasoned, well-groomed legislature, lawmakers.
A situation where the member is trying his best, giving his contribution toward the improving democracy in this country, towards bringing development in the country, particularly in the development of his area. In that aspect, we need to re-elect such a member.
Though experience is what mostly counts in performing optimally in legislative activities, others are of the view that a mixture of old and new members in the parliament is also spicy.
Where there is a gap, it is expected that a new member that will be chosen to fill the gap will be a member that has, different dynamics in getting things done, different level of competence in getting things done. If it has to do with a gap in representation, then you need a member that is very close to the grassroots.
Nigeria, many believe, will grow her democracy and benefit from its tenets if the legislative arm of government is allowed to mature by enlightening the electorate on the duties and function of the parliament, just like in developed countries from where the country copied the practice of democracy.
Moving ahead, inclusive governance and reasons for it took center stage recently when a coalition of young aspirants met recently in Abuja. For this and other issues raised during the meeting, over to political correspondent Salihu Abdullahi.
According to the consolidated number of registered voters for the 2019 general elections released by the Independent National Electoral Commission, youth represents the highest percentage with 51.11%. This, according to observers, is an indication that the youth are pivotal in Nigeria's democratic processes. As government settles down for the business of governance after the successful 2019 general elections, the youth are hopeful of a better deal as they are demanding representation in governance.
If somebody like them has all it takes to contest for those positions, so they also have all it takes to take on any responsibility being dispatched to them.
Women and youths play a vital role in the 2019 election for a successful election with Mr. President.
We prayed for the president, for good health, for sustainability, for good leadership, structure, and having the 50% inclusion of youth in governance.
Nigerian youth, I want to say that we have all the capacity, we have all the credibility to carry out any leadership position.
The group at a press conference in Abuja acknowledged its continued loyalty and support to the Buhari administration to achieve his next level agenda.
More Nigerians, especially those with interest on happenings in the Niger Delta, in view of the speech delivered by President Muhammadu Buhari at the just celebrated Democracy Day, where he promised to develop regions irrespective of political, ethnic, or religious leanings, are still reacting to such.
So even though people don't see the exact benefit, but they feel it without knowing it because the economy is functioning. And that has to be credited to the amnesty program and the president's vision in sustaining the amnesty program. The people of the Niger Delta are not lazy. They are hardworking and they need to be given something to do. You have to create the enabling environment for them to do that. And that's what is happening now. For the government to have the vision to sign this MOU, which allows for foreign direct investment to come straight into the region in the areas of boat building, processing, and distribution, reaching out to millions of Nigerians by effect. It shows us that if the right tools are put in place, government is there to assist. It is for us to put things on the table and say, can we do this? What do you think of this? And government says, how does it benefit the people? be seen, you get the support you should get. So the people in the region are looking forward to starting this project.
And it's on that note that the program ends this week. It is our hope it was worth the time spent. Make it a date with us same time next week for another episode. Until then, I remain yours, Muhammad Abubakar, saying,